7th grade, welcome back. Last time we talked about converting fractions to percents and to decimals and vice versa. That's the easy stuff. Now, what is our objective today? So go ahead and get out your notebook paper, turn to a clean sheet, name today's date. I'll give you a second for that. Today what we're going to be talking about is I can find part of a number given the percent and the whole. Now, I know that may seem kind of confusing because you have no idea what this lingo probably even means yet. But I'm going to be right there to help you out every step of the way. So, let's say, hypothetically, let's say, for example, we had a school election. Now, I know our class size is pretty small, but let's say, as we were trying to get to earlier in the school year, let's say we had a school election. And let's say our class size for middle school, let's say it was actually 60 students. And let's say of those students, let's say we had two people running for student council. And let's say of our two people that got student council, let's say that 45% of that won the vote of these students. And we wanted to figure out how many votes that student got. How would we go about doing that? Well, there is a way that we can look at this. And that is looking at your part, your whole, and your percent. So, looking at these two values, 60 would be considered our whole. Reason being because it's the whole or the full amount of students that make up the whole class. So our whole would be 60. What would be our percent? Well, the only percent that's on the board, 45%. Now, when we're working with percents, we just don't plug in percents. You don't plug in percents anywhere in any type of math equation. You have to convert it. Well, we're notorious for that because we just had a whole lesson on that. So if I converted 45% as a decimal, what would it be? Anyone? Anyone? Yes, exactly. It would be 0.45. So, what we're trying to figure out is how many votes that 45% means in this election. So, in finding the part, here's what we're going to do, or here is your equation that I want you to copy down. Make some room here. To figure out your part, your equation is just going to be, you're going to take your whole, you're going to multiply it by your percent. I was going to write 0.45 there, but take your whole and multiply it by the percent. So, and that will equal your part. So our whole is going to be 60. We are going to multiply it by 0.45. And even though I'm really good, class, I have to use my handy calculator here. So if I take 60 and multiply it by 0.45, I will get that student got 27 votes. Which would mean that in this election, if this student got 27 votes, how many votes did the first student get? Anyone? Anyone? If we take 60 and we subtract it from 27, we would get 33. So in this election, the first student would be victorious because they got the majority of the votes. Let's look at another example, shall we? let's say, this is actually a great one because we are all inside. Let's say that the U.S., United States, produced 254.4 tons of garbage. Okay? That's a lot of garbage. But of those 254.4 tons, let's say that 34.3% of that garbage was recycled. What would that, or what part of that amount of garbage would end up being recycled? Let's find out, shall we? Or apart from our whole. So, looking again, part, whole, and percent. Our whole is going to be 254.4 tons. Our percent is going to be 34.3. Now, again, we have to convert this into a decimal. So again, if we either divide by 100 or move the decimal to the left twice, we would get for our percentage 0.343. And if we were to then, like before, to find our part, we have to multiply our whole times our percent. So, if we take 254.4 tons and we multiply it by 0.343, we would end up, and if I would round this to the nearest tenth, I would get 87.3 tons of recycled material from my 254.4 tons of garbage. If you guys have any questions on this, please feel free to shoot me an email or give me a buzz, and I'll be happy to direct you with any questions or concerns you may have. Let's do one more. So let's say we have, let's say there are 24 hours because most of us are spending a lot of time at home. And let's say of those 24 hours, you spend about, say you spend about 30% playing video games. Well, my question to you is, how much time is that? Let's look at it, shall we? So our whole is 24 hours. 30% would be 0.3, because again, divided by 100, that's our percent. So in multiplying that to find how much time that is, 24 times 0.3 would give me 7.2 hours playing video games. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of time playing video games. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started with our exit slip. So your assignment will be posted on Google Classroom. But let's go ahead and get our exit slip out and go ahead and answer the following question for me, please. Let's say after this entire pandemic, you receive a 75... Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to write the title. Let's say on your birthday, or let's say after this pandemic, you receive a $75 gift card for any place, and you guys can make up your own place to help you out. Could be GameStop, Best Buy, Sephora, electronics store, anything really. So you get a $75 gift card. And let's say you go out shopping, you have a jolly old time, and let's say at the end of it, there's only 16% left on that card, and you want to figure out how much of that card is left over. Well, let's figure it out, shall we? So I'll go ahead and stop here and have you solve this problem for me. All right, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Our whole is going to be $75. Our percent is going to be 16%. So if we take 75 and we multiply it by 16, now 16% though we have to make into a decimal. So 16% would be 0.16, and multiplying those two together, you would have left over $12 on that gift card. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next time we're going to be looking at this same equation, but we're going to be looking at finding the whole this time, not the part. So join me next time when we look at the part